Dramatic irony, a literary device in which the reader knows a secret that the characters do not know. Dramatic irony, when you threw your best friend a surprise party but you told her, "I totally forgot about your birthday, I can't have dinner tonight," and she was so mad. Dramatic irony is that smile you suppressed down to the depths of your belly and you could hardly hold it in until she walked into the room and surprise! Dramatic irony is that giddy feeling we have on Easter morning as we hear the suspenseful story of poor Mary Magdalene coming to the tomb and finding that the stone has been removed. "They have taken our Lord," she cries as she runs to the other disciples who run to see the two sets of linens neatly placed where the head was and where the body was. "They have taken away our Lord." But we know the secret. He's alive. Dramatic irony is the edge of our seats when Mary stays at the tomb weeping madly for her Lord, and she looks in and she sees angels. "Woman, why are you weeping? They have taken away our Lord." But we know the secret. He's alive. Dramatic irony is the kernels we pop as poor Mary turns and sees Jesus himself. "Woman, why are you weeping?" And she thinks he's the gardener. And she accuses him of stealing his own body. But we know the secret. He's alive. Mary. And then, whoosh, the release. The character figures out the dramatic secret. Surprise! I have seen the Lord. Dramatic irony is the reason on Easter Sunday, surrounded by triumphant fanfares and newborn blossoms, that we don't really feel the depths of Mary's grief, can't hear the despair in her sobs, can't smell the pungency of her death herbs, can't taste the salt of her angry tears, because we know the secret. Jesus is alive in a glowing white robe, hiding in the bushes, suppressing that smile down to the depths of his belly. But those tears are part of the story too. The first Easter Sunday began with grief and suspicion and tears. It is Mary's tears that have watered each and every one of these beautiful Easter blossoms. And we can only honor those most important Easter tears if we step out of the privileged shoes of the secret touting reader and step into the dew-soaked shoes of Mary Magdalene. This morning we walk in Mary's shoes up to the tomb. But to understand her tears, let's rewind her journey. Let's walk backward for a time. Back to the place where she spent the Sabbath with wet, swollen, wakeful eyes. Let's rewind further back to Friday when she touched the utterly defeated, bled-pierced, and broken body of God, when she smelled the spices rubbed over his linen-wrapped limpness, when she heard the heavy scraping of the tomb ceiling stone, back to when she tasted the tears of Jesus' own mother clinging to her in grief, back to when she watched her friends' murderers fight like animals over their victims' meager possessions, back to when she painfully made eye contact with that friend who saved her from pain, that friend who was now feeling every stab, every puncture, every constriction of his long death, back to when she heard the pummel of nail through flesh, through tree, forced by men so obedient, so patriotic. Back to when a trusted friend lovingly kissed his rugged cheek, as they had all done so many times before, but this time it was to betray him. Back to the day she was saved, when he loved her, full of demons, voices, struggles, self-hatred. God loved her, and peace followed. And so she followed, and she loved. Now, fast forward to dewy Sunday, walking to the tomb. Now the darkness, the loneliness, the tears seem more appropriate this morning, don't they? Now, after a day and a half of weeping over betrayal, loss, the depths of human evil, she goes up to the tomb to just be near him and what he was about one last time. But she only gets as far as the entrance. And this is what she sees. The stone that was in front of the tomb is no longer there. The tomb's open. That's all John tells us that she sees. And having seen the entrance, she runs to her friends, and this is what she says to them. Very sad words. She says, "They have taken the Lord." Now there are two things to notice about what Mary says. First, she immediately assumes that someone has stolen Jesus' body. Now, back when we were wearing our dramatically ironic shoes, we looked at a stone out of place and we thought, Jesus is alive. But remember, we're in Mary's tragic shoes now. And she sees a stone out of place, and before she has even gone in to see what is or is not in that tomb, she immediately assumes that his body has been stolen. Second thing we notice about what Mary says is that she doesn't say someone has taken the Lord. She says they have taken the Lord. She knows exactly who has taken the Lord. They are the people who were supposed to be trustworthy and just, who in the last few days tortured and killed everything good and right in the world. They, the religious people she grew up admiring. They, the government she used to believe just. They, the good women and men of the holy city of Jerusalem. They had taken so much away from her in these terrible days. Why wouldn't she assume that they would who have arrested and tortured and lynched her Lord would have disgustingly come back for his body also? And Peter and the beloved disciple don't ask a single question about it. Now in the Gospel of Luke, the women come from the tomb to tell the disciples that Jesus is risen. And the disciples call it an idle tale. Because Jesus is risen is an unbelievable claim. But they have taken the Lord is a very believable claim, considering all the evil these people have witnessed. So Mary and Peter and the beloved run back up to the tomb for a second look, and sure enough, they see that the body is gone. The linens neatly rolled up where the Lord had been. And eventually Mary is left alone weeping. And she goes into the tomb. She sees angels there. She sees angels. But what she has witnessed is so horrible that the presence of angels don't even give her pause. They have taken away my Lord. And then she turns around and she sees Jesus himself standing right in front of her, talking to her, but what she has witnessed is so horrible that she assumes he is someone else, maybe even one of the they. If you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, she says. It's only when he finally says her name that the dramatic secret is revealed. But it takes a long, long time. You know, this morning, surrounded by triumphant fanfares and newborn blossoms, we may fancy ourselves as dramatically ironic, secret-holding readers. But when we leave this place, we will inevitably find ourselves back in the dew-soaked shoes of Mary. We, as individuals, as a collective society, will have those days when we have been hurt so much that we wouldn't even be able to recognize the possibility that carefully folded linens, angels, and a Lord look-alike might be clues to life. There will be days when our tears, secreted out of the trauma of life, will blur our eyes to the possibilities of love and justice in this world. There will be days when we will assume death and injustice is all there is. We will assume people who do evil things will always do evil things. We will assume love will never return, but on those very days, I want you to imagine God as a dramatically ironic reader of our world, a secret-holding observer, watching us weep bitterly for all that we have lost, and standing in the bushes, suppressing a smile down to the depths of God's belly, getting ready to show us